It was a great, a strange, and wondrous sight, when front to front those noble armies met, how in each troop each knight stood pressed to move, to fight, and praise to get. Loose in the wind waved their ensigns light, trembled the plumes that on their crests were set, their arms, impresses, colours gold and stone, against the sunbeams smiled, flamed, sparkled, shone. Of dry-topped oaks they seemed to forests thick, so did each host with spears and pikes abound. Bent were their bows, in rest their lances stick, their hands shook swords, their slings held cobbles round. Each steed to run was ready, pressed and quick. At his commander's spur, his hand, his sound, he chafes, he stamps, careers, and turns about. He foams, snorts, neighs, and fire and smoke breathes out. Horror itself in that fair sight seemed fair, and pleasure flew amid sad dread and fear. The trumpets shrill that thundered in the air were music mild and sweet to every ear. The faithful camp, though less, yet seemed more rare in that strange noise, more warlike, shrill, and clear. In notes more sweet the pagan trumpets jar. These sung, their armour shined, these glistered far. The Christian trumpets give the deadly call, the pagans answer, and the fight accept. The godly Frenchmen on their knees down fall to pray, and kiss the earth, and then upleapt to fight. The land between was vanished all. In combat close each host to other stepped. For now the wings had skirmish hot begun, and with their battles forth the footmen run. But who was first of all the Christian train, that gave the onset first won renown? Gildippus, thou wert she. For by thee slain, the King of Orms, Hyrcano, tumbled down. The man's breastbone thou clovest and rent in twain. So heaven with honour would thee bless and crown. Pierced through he fell, and falling hard withal, his foe praised for her strength and for his fall. Her lance thus broke, the hardy dame forth drew with her strong hand a fine and trenchant blade. And 'gainst the Persians fierce and bold she flew, and in their troop wide streets and lanes she made. Even in the girdling stead, divided new, in pieces twain, Zopyre on earth she laid. And then Alarco's head she swept off clean, which like a football tumbled on the green. A blow felled Artaxerxes, with a thrust was Argius slain. The first lay in a trance, Ismael's left hand cut off fell in the dust, for on his wrist her sword fell down by chance. The hand let go the bridle where it lust, the blow upon the courser's ears did glance, who felt the reins at large, and with the stroke half mad, the ranks disordered, troubled, broke. All these and many more by time forgot, she slew and wounded, when against her came the angry Persians all, cast on a knot, for on her person would they purchase fame. But her dear spouse and husband wanted not in so great need to aid the noble dame. Thus joined, the haps of war unhurt they prove, their strength was double, double was their love. The noble lovers use well might you see a wondrous guise, till then unseen, unheard. To save themselves forgot both he and she, each other's life did keep, defend, and guard. The strokes that 'gainst her lord discharged be, the dame had care to bear, to break, to ward. His shield kept off the blows bent on his dear, which if need be, his naked head should bear. So each saved other, each for other's wrong would vengeance take, but not revenge their own. The valiant Soldan Artabano strong, of Bacon Isle, by her was overthrown, and by his hand the bodies dead among. Alvant, that durst his mistress wound, fell down, and she between the eyes hit Aramont, who hurt her lord, and cleft in twain his front. But Altamore, who had that wing to lead, far greater slaughter on the Christians made. For where he turned his sword, or twined his steed, he slew, or man and beast on earth down laid. Happy was he that was at first struck dead, that fell not down on live, for whom his blade had speared. The same cast in the dusty street his horse tore with his teeth, bruised with his feet. By this brave Persian's valor, killed and slain, were strong Brunello and Ardonia great. The first his head and helm had cleft in twain, the last in stranger wise he did entreat. For through his heart he pierced, and through the vein where laughter hath his fountain and his seat, so that a dreadful thing, believed uneath, he laughed for pain, and laughed himself to death. Nor these alone with that accursed knife of this sweet light and breath deprived lie, but with that cruel weapon lost their life Antonio, Guascar, Rosamond, and Guy. Who knows how many in that fatal strife he slew? What knights his courser fierce made die? The names and countries of the people slain, who tells? Their wounds and deaths who can explain?